Hello, it's great to be with all of you on LinkedIn Live. My name is Jim Becker, and I am so happy to be here with you all. And we have some exciting topics to talk about, and it's going to be fantastic. How to build a resilient team culture is really important. You could be doing this at your current company that's you've been running in circles with, or you could be looking at your new endeavor. You just got this promotion. So how to build a resilient team culture is really important. I know many of you are in businesses, right? Working in businesses. Maybe you're a leader in the business, an employee, a manager, maybe even CEO. And resilience is a term we hear quite a bit, especially in the face of uncertainty. And we all know that we've been going through uncertain times. And look at the elections right now. We have two candidates that are running for office, and there's uncertainty on either way that we go, right? Unless everything's shining on one. I don't know that to be the case. At least I'm not in that camp. But what does really matter is resilience. And what does resilient really mean? And how to build a resilient team is really important. So how can us as leaders foster that culture? Well, today I'm going to walk you through the key components of a resilient team. And we're going to discuss the leadership's role in cultivating this soil as we enrich it with really who you are, because who you are is amazing. And it will give us some actionable steps that we can start implementing right away as we move forward. So as always, I've been taking questions throughout each one of these podcasts, and I can see the questions down here. I'll have to squint a little and I'll see it. So if you want to just say, hey, hi, I may know you. You may be around the world. If you're calling in from another country, please just let me know what part of the country or the world you're in. And if you have a question about resiliency, please let me know. I usually look at it as feather truck brick, and I'll go into that more later. So feel free to just drop in at any point in time to chat. Also, go ahead and like, follow, and share this live stream if you found it useful so more people can join us on this topic. And it's an important topic. So let's get started. Resilience or resiliency. Simply put, it is a team's ability to bounce back from challenges. This is also a pivot, right? So when you look at this resiliency, it's what did the leadership already plan? What did you already plan and put in place as a manager, a leader, or an employee? It's about how well your team adapts, learns, and keeps going in the face of obstacles. When I think about this, I think we've all experienced moments where the pressure was on, and having a team that can weather those storms in a key it is a key to this long-term success, because we all go away. I go away every now and then. Even on live streams, I'll go away for a second. So why is resiliency so important, right? And why is it so critical? See, challenges are inevitable. I had challenges coming to work today, right? There's construction over here, or there's construction over here. Whether it's the market shifts, the economic turndowns, the Fed lowering or raising interest rates, or internal changes, your team will always face difficulties. Teams with resiliency don't just survive these challenges, they thrive. They find creative solutions. They remain engaged each and every day and come out stronger than they've ever come before. According to some research that I looked at over the weekend, resilient teams also tend to perform better because they foster an environment where learning, right, really just learning and innovating can really happen. It's really looking at what's going on and being real with yourself, identifying your untruths. Think about your own team. How have they handled the recent changes in your company? Drop a quick comment on that so that we can use that as a part of the conversation. You know, where's a time that your team showed resiliency? Where did you show resiliency? I'd love to hear your story or where you're calling in from. As leaders, we set the tone for resilience. A resilient culture doesn't just happen by accident. No, it starts with confidence. It starts with empathy, being empathetic and transparent. Transparency is so key. And I can't emphasize enough how crucial it is for leaders to demonstrate resiliency themselves. Your team is watching how you respond to tough situations. If you stay calm and optimistic, it sends a powerful message. Leaders that study shows that by example, how you're demonstrating yourself significantly influences the team's behavior. Empathy is another key that we could really understand. And when we're understanding the key of empathy, you look at challenges that maybe you or your team are facing, and both personally and professionally. This allows you to better support them when you have empathy. Now, transparency. I think of Mr. Cellophane, right? For the people that get that. So when we look at transparency, especially through tough times, it builds trust. When you communicate openly about challenges the team faces and involve them in problem solving, you make them feel like an integral part of the solution. If you agree so far, let me know. And when we look at this, it's a resilient team that thrives. They really thrive on open, honest communication. And it's all about communication when it all comes down to it. It's just about the frequent updates, but creating a space. See, if you try to operate in the space that you're currently in, it doesn't work. In most cases, it doesn't work. I call that the fireman, right? So when you create a new space where the team members feel safe to voice concerns, ask questions, or even admit when they're struggling, how do we promote this kind of environment? One practical tip that I've always used in having an open door policy. I can remember people coming to my office all the time and knocking on my door at any point in time. It was great. And it really opened up my eyes to a lot of things. Using these anonymous feedback channels, having a little birdhouse where you can put suggestions in. Sometimes people hesitate to speak up because they fear judgment. They feel repercussions. So it's essential to build that trust. When you're running into these things, how do you handle it? When was the last time that you made it easy for your team to give feedback? If it's been a while, I can encourage you to try something new. Maybe a quick one-on-one check-in with them where you ask, how are things going? I mean, really going. Let's talk about the feedback. See, one of the most underrated tools for resilience is a culture of continuous, constructive feedback. It helps teams grow. It really does. But over time, most people avoid that. Like when I'm having a bad day, and I do have bad days, trust me. And when I have a bad day, I face that. And the moment I face it, I'm able to get past it. See, the key here is to balance. You balance the feedback for improvement alongside with the positive reinforcement. When we put those together, it really makes an impact. Regular check-ins are a great tool for this. These meetings aren't just for reviewing tasks, because we become task-oriented in doing and taking actions. See, they're an opportunity to really understand, to digest, and let it wash over you how your team is feeling and help them adjust to the new challenges. Think of feedback as a two-way communication on maybe a CB or something like that. When you look at that, it's not just about, pointing out areas for improvement, but also recognizing what's working well. And sometimes on that CB or handheld, it's staticky, making sure that it's getting through and you're talking about what's working well also, and dealing with, those things that aren't working. If you have anything, please throw into the chat. And even afterwards, I'll get to your comments and concerns afterwards. But How are you currently giving feedback to your team? You know, in today's fast-paced environment, it gets kind of crazy, right? The environment, the adaptability, it's so crucial. A resilient team isn't afraid to pivot when necessary. And that's something that we as leaders must also encourage. We need to promote a mindset of learning, having experimentation and innovation with your team. Encourage them to try new things without the fear of failing or holding them back. Cross training has seen wonders happen, and rotating responsibilities are practical ways to really build adaptability. When team members learn multiple roles, it's not only keeps them engaged, but it also makes your team stronger, more educated, flexible in times of need. Have any of you implemented cross training in your company or in your roles? Have you seen it? Have you done it? It's the resilience. Resilience is a collective effort. When we get together and we have a mind melt, if you will, with this collaboration, this collective effort really brings trust into its foundation. When a team member really can trust each other, they can support one another through the challenges. Team building exercises and retreats are awesome. These activities really help create a peer support system. It really has someone that you can go to and ask these questions. See, these foster relationships. Building trust doesn't just happen overnight, no. But small actions like celebrating the wins, acknowledging people, even the small ones, and checking in on your team on a regular basis really helps. This all goes a long way. What trust building activities have you worked on within your company? Have you gotten a shout out lately? If you have, just share it in the comments if you have them. So what can you do today by start building a more resilient team culture? Let's recap some of the things that we've talked about already in this live. First is lead. Lead with empathy and transparency. Being an example of the resilience that you're talking about, especially with your team. Your team needs that. Foster open communication. When you foster that open communication, it really creates a safe space where people can go ahead and say, this isn't working. Okay, great. And give honest feedback. See, balance the constructive feedback with the positive reinforcement and keep everything consistent. Don't just do this once. Keep that feedback consistent and growth focused. Another is promote the adaptability. Encourage the learning. If it's reading a book, if it's inside your LMS, whatever you may have, encourage that. Encourage taking chances and experimentation. When we do that, it gives them an empowerment to try something new and be flexible through cross-training. Build that trust. Organize the team building activities, right? When you build those team building activities, it's great. Even doing volunteer work by picking up garbage on the side of the highway. These things work, or in a neighborhood, or on the south side on Inglewood off of 47th and Ashland. It's a great place to go do that. Trust me, there's some garbage over there. I know, I've been in that area a lot. So even on the side of the highways, just look in your neighborhood. Maybe there's a little prairie area. These are areas that you could ask people, where's the pain at, and go take care of the pain for that community. See, this team building activities really help you take on something larger than yourself, and it focuses on this peer support. Remember, resilience is something that you can actively cultivate at any point in time. It's not about avoiding the challenges, but preparing your team to face them head on with confidence. Now, before I wrap up, I want to quickly mention a few pitfalls that can undermine all of your efforts when you're building resilience. First, over communicating without transparency can really lead to confusion and mistrust. Make sure your communication is clear and precise, not to mention honest. Second, focus When you focus too much on results, it can sometimes overshadow the importance of the team's well-being. And you know I'm all about being. So really work on the people's well-being and not just on the numbers or what you've put out there. If a team feels burned out, resilience will be the first thing to go to. Now, I'd love to open up to any questions that are out there and what's on your mind and what can I help with, right? So, and I don't see anyone now, so this is cool. This is totally different doing it later on in the afternoon versus lunch. So to sum everything up, let me just sum everything up pretty quick and easy here. You know, building a resilient team really, it takes that culture to another level. It's just a nice thing to do. It's not just a nice thing to have. It's nice to be when you have this resiliency. It's a critical element for success in any environment, especially in today's environment. If you look around the world, and I've been around the world seeing different businesses, when you have resiliency and what other countries are going through, it's really important to have this resiliency. This, you know, being at work is kind of like a getaway in some cases to be able to get away from everything else that's going on out there in the world. We've discussed the importance of leadership, open communication, not to mention feedback. When we do all that, we have to also be aware that we have to be adaptable and we have to have this thing called trust. Trust is so important. And as I sign off, don't forget to like, follow, and share this live stream. Thanks for being here today.